there's a problem in this country. The problem is that there are certain people who are within very high echelons of power who've decided they want to have investments in every sector. They are in mining. They've taken land. They have created serious deforestation in this country. They have taken up everything, including private parcels of land. You saw what was happening in Dabibi. Once they are done, I have had conversations with people who approach me and tell me, Fanya Mambo, please speak on our behalf. People just come to you and they tell you they want 50% of your establishment. You work for 20, 30 years and build a very successful outfit in IT, in whatever field. And somebody comes just because they are powerful in government, they tell you they want 50% stake in your private company. And when you say no, they start weaponizing, the various agencies of government, including the Revenue Authority. And they come to you and they give you serious tax challenges, and before you know, you give them the 50% that they're looking for. This is greed.
Hey there, and welcome to Fanya Mambo Africa, another week. And of course, Kenya, we've seen a lot of dramatic issues around the political space, from Goons to the arrest of doctors, to a takeover of Nairobi Hospital, among other things that are going on the Kenyan political space. And to just analyze these things and just find out why they're happening now, we have none other than Fanya Mambo. Karibu sana.
Asante sana.
How are you doing?
I'm happy to be here. It's
looking
been a
sharp.
Minute. This is a look I have avoided for a long time.
Why?
Deliberately, by the way. For us lawyers, suits are ni apron ya kazi. Unajua kila kazi na apron yake. So for the lawyers, suits are the aprons of their work. In fact, they say you dress in a suit with a touch of common sense. That's what they tell us. But now the problem
a lot of the lawyers don't have the common sense parts. I'm just saying.
The problem with that, and I was very deliberate about not being in them, was because people tend to think you're very elitist. For a person who is vying for a political seat, if I was to appear on TV shows this sharp every other time, people would see me as this elitist technocrat who would never be able to mingle and interact with them. Lakini nikivaa kale kasweta kangu kanafanyanga nakaa, the raia that I am, jumini raia, simple, close to them, and they interact with me very easily. But now, because of the brand is there, people know me. People now know that, siko huko juu, I'm not elitist. Sasa hata nikivaa suti hakuna shida.
Okay, umejipigia debe kweli kweli.
Hapana, ni kweli.
Lakini ni sawa tu. Now, let's start there. As we are recording this show, we're having I don't know if it's a court case or a court appearance, where the doctors that were initially abducted, and then I think Senior Counsel Nelson Harvey raised an alarm, and then it became, no, it's not an abduction, it's an arrest. Doctors from Nairobi Hospital, Dr. Oboka and I've forgotten the other two names. They are to be presented in courts. Legally, where are we? What is happening and why is it happening?
To start with, if it was death, we would have been giving condolences to the hospital. But we are in a place where we are telling the hospital, poleni sana. You are a hospital of excellence that is being persecuted. Just the other day, we heard of how many children died at a referral hospital. Very many children.
Yeah.
Can you imagine? None of the people responsible for the deaths of those children has been arrested. There is serious crimes against humanity happening in hospitals, the level 4 hospitals. I don't want to mention them here, but people know them. Kuna moja iko within Kiambu, because there are several, but kuna moja iko within Kiambu, where I've personally gone and seen women sharing a bed. The management of those hospitals has not been abducted. The management of those hospitals has not been taken to court. The management of those hospitals is walking scot-free. Kenyatta National Hospital, we get to hear of times when patients were going without food, dying of hunger in hospital. You would expect this administration to arrest and take before court the administrators of Kenyatta National Hospital, and as whose watch our patients lacked food. Guess what? None of that is important to this administration. What's important for them is to arrest the people who are running one of the best run hospitals in this country. Nairobi Hospital is one hospital where people go to by choice. It's not circumstances. It's not one of those hospitals you can say is being funded by public resources. It's not. It's one of those hospitals that whoever goes there knows what they are looking for. They go by choice. They pay for the services. They don't complain. Wewe kama serikali unauliza hiyo hospitali nini? It's sad, it's unfortunate, it's unbecoming of this administration. It is the most terrible piece of news that we are having to receive so far this year. But if you think the Kenya Kwanza administration has gone low, just you wait. They are about to go lower. They have incredible depths for bad things.
But what would be the interest for this hospital? Because the fight was on sometimes. This whole saga started sometimes last year. What exactly would you make of it? I
have seen the government make allegations. They are saying that the board is there for too long. They are saying there is no transparency in the appointment of the board. They are saying all sorts of things.
The government complaining about a private hospital.
Yes, they are saying this. They've given government affordable bloggers a list of rubbish to sell to Kenyans about why they think the government should interfere with the Nairobi Hospital. Then people are asking, this is a private hospital. Who cares about how they appoint their own board? Who cares about how they run their own money? Hajaiba pesa ya raia. I wish Nairobi Hospital was being accused of stealing share money. It's not. It's not even in the list of those hospitals that are craving for share money. So what is the interest with Nairobi Hospital? It's a hostile takeover. I have watched news and I have seen all over. Very important and very serious names have been mentioned in that hostile takeover of the hospital. And this is the greed that we are talking about. Let me tell you, Sarah, there's a problem in this country. The problem is that there are certain people who are within very high echelons of power who've decided they want to have investments in every sector. They are in mining. They've taken land. They have created serious deforestation in this country. They have taken up everything, including private parcels of land. You saw what was happening in Dabibi. Once they are done, I have had conversations with people who approach me and tell me, Fanya Mambo, please speak on our behalf. People just come to you and they tell you they want 50% of your establishment. You work for 20, 30 years and build a very successful outfit in IT, in whatever field. And somebody comes just because they are powerful in government, they tell you they want 50% stake in your private company. And when you say no, they start weaponizing, the various agencies of government, including the Revenue Authority. And they come to you and they give you serious tax challenges, and before you know, you give them the 50% that they are looking for. This is greed. But let me tell the greedy people something. If your motivation is money, you are thinking that you must make money, and you want to make money in all sectors, I can open your eyes. There's a lot of money to be made from picking up toilet waste. You can start having exhausters. Kama munatafuta avenues za pesa. You've taken everything in this country. Now you're looking for avenues for money. It is fine. You can actually own a mortuary now. There's a lot of money from washing bodies and having a mortuary. Sio tu ndio kitu tumebakisha. Mumechukua mining, mumechukua agriculture, mumechukua matatu, mumechukua airlines, mumechukua airports, mumechukua kila kitu. Now my advice is this. Actually, there's also money to be made from prostitution. Go and start a brothel. Go and steal brothels from people and start making money from brothels. Because for such people who have got no morals, it's all about making money. So if you're looking for a new avenue, I have now submitted to you. There's a lot of money to be made from brothels. Go and start a brothel. Go and do prostitution. Because you've gotten to a point where you don't draw boundaries. You want everything. You can't just have everything in this life. These people are in every sector. The people who are committing these crimes are in every sector. They've taken up everything. Sasa nimewaongezea kwa hiyo list. Chukueni brothel, chukueni mortuary, na mchukue na zile malori za kwenda zikisack toilets. Then you have another new avenue of business altogether. Because you want everything. Maybe they are believers, so maybe they wouldn't take that. I'm just saying. However, my question would be, should it concern Kenyans that a business or an entity like Nairobi Hospital is facing this? Yes, and what are the dangers? Why? The reason it should concern us is this. Nairobi Hospital is run by private people, and it has been run by private people for a very long time. By the way, it's older than Kenya. Before it got independence, that hospital was there. And if you visit that hospital, you'll see photos of its construction process. Now, any other person who was planning to come and invest in Kenya tomorrow will not. Who wants to invest in a place where you can wake up one morning and your board of directors is arrested and taken to court? And then they have to think of the charges. The reason they haven't brought them to court as we speak right now is because they don't know what charges to prefer against them. What charges are they going to prefer against the directors who were arrested from Nairobi Hospital? They don't know. And that is why for every investor, once they are done with Nairobi Hospital, they are coming for your hospital. They will come up and realize, oh, we don't own a driving school. They'll come for the best driving school in the country. They'll come and realize, oh, we don't own a studio. They'll come for this one. God forbid. So these people have spread out their tentacles and they've decided they want to be everywhere and they want to own everything. But I'm going to encourage them and tell them about what happens in the book of Luke. For those who read the good Bible, chapter 12. The book of Luke, chapter 12, actually speaks to this. It talks of, in fact, they call him the stupid rich man, the rich fool, the parable of the rich fool. He went, he harvested grain.
That is
he
Luke 12.
Yes, Luke
Just
12.
To be sure.
Check, Luke 12. I'm not guessing things here. Check, Luke chapter 12, the parable of the rich fool. Mm-hmm. Is it there? Are you there?
Not yet. It's
You'll
loading.
find it. Check. Luke chapter 12.
Go right ahead.
The parable of the rich fool. And Luke 12, 16 to 21.
16. Let's go to 16.
Luke 12, 16 to 21. For the viewers, check.
Yes.
It tells us about the parable of the rich fool. And it tells us he went and harvested a lot of grain that he had piled up and stocked up. And then once he was done, he said, now it's my time to reach. In fact, what he did, he even expanded his granaries. He had too much. He expanded his granaries. He wanted to, and then akasema sasa ni kurelax na kukula. God is very faithful. After he was done amassing this wealth, the Lord took his soul away and the guy died. I am praying to the heavens above that the prophecies of Luke 12 will come to happen to these people. Once they are done accumulating everything, on the evening of the accumulation, may God come for their souls. May they never live to enjoy what they have stolen from Kenyans. For those who read the Holy Quran, I actually took time to look at the Quran.
If it has a similar parable.
Yes, it does have a similar parable. And it's actually called Surah Al-Qasas. It is in the Quran. I don't know whether they call them chapter but it's 28, 76 to 82. Okay. And it talks of a man who accumulated treasures. And then the keys to where those treasures had been kept were too heavy that they became burdensome to a group of strong men. So it's not the wealth that was burdensome. He had so many keys, and each key was opening a place where wealth was kept. But the keys to those places were too many. They became burdensome to those people who were carrying. And what did Allah do? He caused the earth to swallow him and his sons.
Or the guy that was stealing?
Yes, the guy that was stealing. So for those who read the Quran, I want you to follow that. And let's say, hata wale Waislamu, because we have Christians who've done this, or people who purport to be Christians and they've done this. And we have people who purport to be Muslims in this republic and they are doing this accumulation. May what was happening in the Quran, may the earth swallow them plus their children. Immediately they're done with accumulation. So that they realize that there's only too much you can do with. And there's only too much you can do with too much wealth. This is too much. This has gone too far. They have crossed the red line.
Isn't it? Maybe the earth is swallowing because is it today's newspaper which had a highlight that Kenyan politicians are very worried because of the attacks that are happening in UAE. Because a lot of them, as you've been saying over time, they steal money here and then invest in other countries. And now Iran.
God is very faithful. Actually, my prayer is that one of those Iranian missiles will land on property that has been bought by Kenyan politicians. Zile walienda kununua in those other countries. I don't want to mention the country so that you don't say I'm wishing that country ill.
It's in the newspapers.
Iran, as
We're
you
just
do
reporting.
your thing, just get a pin location to where our Kenyan politicians have stolen our billions and invested. And may that missile land on those properties, especially those that are not yet occupied as at now. So that those things are destroyed completely and everything they ever stole from us goes into flames and ashes.
As I'm just thinking as just a normal Kenyan now, and wondering what power do Kenyans have? How do Kenyans get through this? Because today is Nairobi Hospital. Tomorrow it could be, as you said, a different institution.
It's not even institutions.
Or persons.
Even persons, even individuals have gone through a lot under this administration. And it is selective. That's the annoying thing. Okay? If you look at this government coming to Githurai and destroying businesses owned by people like you and me in Githurai, people who have literally had to depend on those businesses to feed their families, and then they come to Roysambu and they destroy the properties in Roysambu, and then they leave Roysambu, they come to Uhuru Market, an enclosed place, and because they hate the people who are in Uhuru Market, they destroy Uhuru Market, and then they come and forget conveniently. Because tell me why, if it is not tribal, we do not have any, in their eyes, hawakuona any stall on the road around Kangemi, hawakuona any stall on the road in Mathare, hawakuona any stall on the road in Kibra, hawakuona any stall on the road in any of those other places. It is targeted, it is tribal, it is intended to move populations out of Nairobi, and it is sad and unfortunate.
But why would you say it's tribal?
I'll tell you why.
Kenyans
because
live
Kenya,
everywhere.
There's a lot of demographics to this. I have told you, they have been claiming to clean up rivers. Kibira hakuna river. Kangemi hakuna river. Mathare hakuna river. When you start thinking that way, you'll understand where this administration is focused on.
I wouldn't want to think it's a political gimmick.
It is a political thing. And I want them to tell me why. In those other places that appear to have populations that are imagined to be broad-based, there is no market on the road. There is no house on the river. Why?
Okay. Let me flip this and ask you. You wanted those people to remain on that zone. Like, let's say the Githurai one. It is open. That is it's, what do they call it? It's a reservation of the road. Why on earth would we be okay? Fine, the means in which they were sent out, I disagree. But I agree that we need to have sanity. It's a roundabout. People have been killed on that roundabout.
I want to bring your attention to one thing. Governments that use common sense create markets first and then tell people we are moving you to that location. They don't come and create destitution and then say we were trying to pave the way for the highway. It doesn't make sense. I wish they were saying, this is the market, you have refused to occupy, we are destroying your souls, you're moving into this market. I don't think traders would say no. We are at a point in time...
We also need to call ourselves as Kenyan. Kenyans say no, oftentimes.
No, you say no, as long as the government comes and says, and that's why they are not addressing this issue. Tumewatoa Roysambu na ndio ile soko. Have you realized there is money, there is an opportunity to clear out the whole of Karura forest in the name of hosting NYS, and it's a lie. They're just getting timber for avoidable houses. But they don't have the same zeal to create government, to look for government land and put our people in markets. Mbona vile waliamuka? Karura forest is a natural forest. It has been destroyed in a way that is so annoying.
That one is painful.
A whole minister comes and says, we are destroying original trees, indigenous trees, to plant seedlings. Na huyo mtu anatembea hii Kenya na anafikiria she's okay. Minister, I want to tell you to your face, what you did is wrong. What you said on TV is unfortunate. In fact, it's unbecoming of your office as a minister to come and tell people that you're going to destroy indigenous trees and then put up seedlings. There is a whole country that is bare. Why couldn't you plant trees there, surely? Why Karura forest? Where are those trees that are being cut down going to? They don't want to address that. If you go along Kijabe, there, just after Kijabe, before you get to, after Kijabe Hospital, before you get to Flyover, you should see logs. I have never seen the amount of deforestation that is happening under this administration. Come to Ngong Forest here. The whole forest is being destroyed. They want to put up a 5-star hotel inside the forest, and they don't care.
By the way, why would the argument be that they want to keep the NYS guys inside Karura, when between Karura and NYS headquarters is less than 10 kilometers.
No, it doesn't make sense. From every angle, I have told you they are looking for timber for affordable housing. They are cutting down our trees, and they are taking our trees and supplying avoidable housing with timber. And they are unashamed about it. And that's why we have always said that project was a bad idea. It was a terrible bad idea. That first, the land is ours. It's our land. They didn't buy. The money they are using to build is our money. They are not using their money. And then, the timber they are using is from our forests. They are not buying timber like every other person. And then once they are done with it, they want to sell it for money. Their cost, their out of pocket is zero. But there is something coming into their pocket from avoidable housing. Their out of pocket is zero. Hawanunui timber, nothing.
Okay. I think this housing issue has been discussed over and over until it looks like people surrendered and decided let it go on. But now we've been talking about political goons in political events. And now we can see we've graduated from goons in political events to people's businesses and property. And we saw this with the DCP candidate, Irongo Nyakera, and also with former CS, Rafael Tuju in Karen.
Yeah.
Why is this happening? What is...
I would like to start with Irongo Nyakera. Irongo Nyakera invests close to 235 million in Kisumu. So he says, and it's a beautiful hotel. And he employs the locals because there are no Kikuyus from Murang'a, I can assure you, who've been removed from here to go and be employed at his hotel.
Yeah.
It is the locals who are employed there. They do the room service. They do the front office. They do the accounting. It is the people of that Kisumu County who benefit the most. Irongo Nyakera does not buy onions from Limuru to take to Kisumu. The onions, the eggs, everything that is supplied into that hotel comes from Kisumu. So he visits there one night, and at 3 a.m. they decided to send goons. At first, there was denial. Thank God for CCTV cameras. Then they bring out the images of the goons. The people who literally invaded the hotel, destroyed television sets, and did a lot of... In fact, they had started getting into guests' rooms. That's when he drew the line, took out his gun and shot in the air. And he was still fair. He didn't shoot any of them, much as they had really caused a lot of havoc. They even destroyed a vehicle. The next thing we hear is that those were auctioneers. Now, let me speak as a lawyer. Auctioneering doesn't happen that way. Anytime you owe someone anything, there is the Auctioneers Act of 1997 that says it can only be done between 6 a.m. and 6 p.m. Anybody who comes to your piece of property as a Kenyan, write this down. After 6 p.m., you have the right to beat them up and check them out of your house. They are not auctioneers. The law is clear. An auctioneer should only come to your premises between 6 a.m. and 6 p.m. And what's the first procedure? They come and do something called a proclamation. They were supposed to come to Irongo Nyakera's property and say, Jue uko na deni ya fulani na fulani. That is if he owes anybody anything. We are so-and-so auctioneers, and then he needs to check whether they are registered auctioneers and whether they have a practicing certificate because they are registered as auctioneers, and also whether they have a valid court order. So then he takes now the proclamation. They just come and say, tumeona speaker, tumeona kitungu, tumeona simu, tumeona pasi. They write a proclamation, which you then get a copy, and they carry a copy of the proclamation. Now, once they are done and they leave, they're supposed to give you 14 days.
Oh.
Yes. After making a proclamation. After which 14 days now, then they can come and do the auctioneering process. So there is no proclamation of anything in that hotel that has been shared anywhere. They never came for proclamation. And they came at 3 a.m., they came in the night, they destroyed property, they destroyed the hotel, they stole valuables from the hotel. And here is the beauty. Oh, I love Kenya Kwanza administration. None of them has been arrested. Who are they arresting? An old man, an over 80-year-old man, for managing the board of one of the most successful hospitals, not only in Kenya, but in the region.
Yeah.
And that's why even presidents from across the region come to Nairobi Hospital for treatment. Yani mko na nguvu ya kushika mzee kwa sababu ya kurun hospitali vizuri. Lakini the goons who are raiding people's property at 3 a.m. in the morning and their faces are visible on camera, none of them has been arrested. And then they come and say, government was not involved. In fact, the classic exclamation they make is that DCP candidates sent goons to themselves. So if we did send goods to ourselves and we have recorded them and showed you their faces, how terrible can we be?
Ridiculous, man.
So that is where we are as a country. And that ties it up with the Tuju story. The Honorable Rafael Tuju is said to have taken a loan from a bank. And he comes and these are court documents. And he says, look here, I owe you and I'm ready to pay you. And here is the money. And they tell him, no, we don't want your money. We want your property. And what annoys me the most is that when they got to his property, and I saw him shed tears, may you people who did that, may your children forever shed tears. May you pay back 10 times the tears of Rafael Tuju. And I'll explain why. I work in a mediation firm called Kilimani Mediation Center. And every week, even last week, we are doing mediations between people who borrowed money against their motor vehicles and now the lenders. I'll give you a classic example without stating the name of the microfinance and the person, because mediation is confidential. Someone takes a Toyota Alfa, it's valued at 1.6 million by these predatory lenders. And this is a conversation that the whole country must have, predatory lending.
Yeah.
So he takes a Toyota Alfa, they go, these lenders actually, the car was worth more than 2 million. They valued it at 1.6 million. They gave him a loan of 250,000. I'm telling you a case I have handled in my office last week. After they gave him a loan of 250,000, within 1.5 years, he had paid 380,000. They came to repossess saying that ajalipa miezi tatu ama ine, they owe him 125,000. So they took the Alfa with them. After some time, they sold it for 800,000.
Hey.
And then they came to him and said, you owe us 280,000. So you borrow 250, you pay 380, they take your car, they sell it for 800, they come back to you, they tell you you owe them 280. And they had the audacity to go to the small claims court and file this matter because it has a case number, claiming 280,000 from a person whose cars they've auctioned. We don't have a republic here anymore. We don't have a state here anymore. If that kind of predatory lending can continue in this country unabated, then we have a problem. Na naona siku hizi wamejaa kwa barabara, wanakupatia tu kadi ati wana auction loans. I think we need to get to a place where all of us as Kenyans gang up and now stop hiding names. I just can't say them because I'm on Alfa House. Taki kuharibia jina, but I'll go to my private pages and I will name these predatory lenders. And we have to get to a point where now every Kenyan has to come out and say, sisi wote, we are going to shame a particular lender until that person closes their offices.
I think they're very shameless because those stories are always
what
shared
is happening
online.
to Rafael Tuju is that kind of thing, predatory lending. But number two, and most sadly, is that government is involved. One, again, auctioneers come in at 2:41 a.m. It is illegal. It is against the law. In fact, if anything, the petition we should be filing in court is a case against them for coming at 2:41 a.m. Number two, this is the first special auctioneer who comes with very many police Land Cruisers. And then they are all speaking Kalenjin. The problem is not speaking Kalenjin. The problem is, if you have too many policemen from one community, to the point that they can come to auction properties and speak in one language, their mother tongue, even ingekuwa Wakikuyu watupu, we would have a problem. Wasomali watupu, we would have a problem. The fact that you've decided that tutaenda in a way that we can speak our mother tongue so that Rafael Tuju doesn't get to hear what we are saying, that in itself is worrisome. And then the people who are being accused of being involved in the stealing are also speaking the same language as these ones. And then our good friend, Oscar Sudi, comes And he does a TikTok video laughing at Rafael Tuju and telling him that he deserves what's happening to him. And this is what makes the whole story a very sad affair. Kenyans, I want to tell you one thing. Responsible government agencies and administrations across the world have always come out to bail out companies that are employing people in their countries. Daimler has had its challenges. There are times when government has bailed out. And I can name for you very many companies in the US and every other place where government has said, wait. These guys are employing our people. And if they close down, we will not be able to continue having this kind of unemployment. So the government actually comes to bail out. Now here we have a situation where government is literally involved, not in bailing out, but in taking away from citizens that which belongs to them. How are they involved? I am a lawyer again, I tell you. And any of us, by simply reading our laws, will tell you that an appeal is a constitutional right. If I go to court and the judge gives me a judgment, and the judgment is not favorable to me, I am allowed to appeal.
True.
Rafael Tuju had to move the courts and actually force the courts to give him an opportunity for appeal. He had been denied appeal. And this is at High Court. What is wrong with me going to Court of Appeal? What is wrong with me going to Supreme Court if the Court of Appeal feels that this matter should go to the Supreme Court? So there is a leave and there's a way in which the Supreme Court, the Court of Appeal, can look at some matters and say, this one, with our blessings, can go to the Supreme Court. So Rafael Tuju had not exhausted his available avenues for legal redress. I think I need to repeat that. Rafael Tuju had not exhausted his available options in terms of fighting for his rights within the courts. Yet they came and they intervened and they want to auction his property. Every investor should be worried. Kuna watu hapa anakuambia, two-term, sijui wa Kikuyu, now is Tuju Kikuyu. Tuju is Luo. For all we know, some of them are saying they're broad-based. When the cabals of criminals start taking from Kenyans, they don't check which tribe you come from. These are criminal outfits. They steal from everybody. And they punish everybody equally. So the reason we are standing with Rafael Tuju is because tomorrow it will be your business or mine. Iyo kibanda, kama wanabomoa kibanda iko Githurai, what makes you think they won't come from for your law firm or for that outfit of a business you do? Unauza TV, Luthuli, you think you are safe. Ati unauza manguo, uko na shop Adams, you think you are safe. You're not safe. If these people decide they want your shop, they'll come for it.
That's very unfortunate. It's very systematic. And my question would be, both Rafael Tuju and Irungu Nyakera served in government, in the previous government actually. Mm-hmm. And the question I think the other people are asking, or we ask ourselves, is when they were in there, they refused to fix the systems. Because these systems, back then, they punished other different people at that point. Now, it is their turn being punished. Not that we agree that they are being punished, but are people in power, do they understand that, as Orengo said, revolutions eat their own at some point? I think because we keep begging people in government to work or do things that are good for the people, and they decide to do otherwise. These were part of government at some point.
I think I'll answer it this way. I'm one person who does not like the idea of two-term. But I will fight for your right to say two-term. Okay? I am one person who believes William Ruto should go home after this term. That one I always make it clear. And I always believe we are giving him until the ballot, then we vote him out and he goes home. So I'm a one-term proponent. But imagine the right of somebody who is here or here to say two-term should never be taken away from them.
Yeah.
It is their right to say, even if that thing hurts me and my mind and my way of thinking, it is so unbelievable that someone would say two-term within these circumstances. But their right to say it must be protected. Irungu Nyakera has his past. Tuju has their past. They were in government. Did they fix systems? I don't know.
No, they did not.
Did they?
I will say it because if they did, we wouldn't be where they are now.
Did they do what they were supposed to do? It's up to them. But right now, their right to the property, their right to the investments they have, are rights that cannot be taken away from them.
Yes.
And it is our duty to do everything within our capacity to defend their right to actually just own their property. And that's where we are. Because even like now, I don't like William Ruto as a president. I've always said that. And that's why, by the way, you never hear me calling him Kasongo. I never do that. Because I have nothing personal. I don't want to attack. You know, when I call him that, I am attacking his person. I am causing him to feel bad. I am causing him to feel hurt. I will attack his administration. I will attack his presidency. I will attack how he runs this nation. And I will tell him, President William Ruto, I have a problem with how you are running the country. If I heard tomorrow he has pinched his son, I will never interfere. I wouldn't care what he does with his private life. But if his rights as a human being are being taken away, if I found people stoning him tomorrow, I would stop them. I would tell them, let us get William Ruto and take him before a court of law. And then let the court of law pronounce punishment upon him. And I think that's what I'm saying, that it doesn't matter whether it's a person that I vehemently disagree with, like William Ruto. I still agree with his right to a fair trial.
That's true.
If I found Kenyans wamemshika kama president na wanataka kumpiga na mawe, naweza piga magoti hapo. Niombe wa Kenya niwaambie, I also don't like his way of leading us. In fact, I even don't think but what I want is, let us arrest him. Let us present him before court. If William Ruto is taken to court and he goes, we don't deny him a chance at the High Court. For example, if he wants an appeal, I will fight for his right to appeal, but I don't like him. If he exhausts, until he exhausts the Supreme Court, then we tell him, William Ruto, you have fought the good battle within the courts, but you have lost, now go to jail. So when people look at human rights from that angle and from that perspective, then you realize that we are not merely bitter people who are vindictive and who would say stone him or crucify him. I think I wouldn't be part of that choir. I would be of the say that even the guy I hate the most or don't agree with the most must get a fair chance to go through the process of law and for them to get their justice and to be heard.
Yeah.
And actually even a right to be defended by a lawyer. And that lawyer
That's
must
true.
never be victimized. And to go on a support to you continue. No. He deserves a chance to be heard in court.
Okay.
Yeah.
Totally agree. Mine is just to remind people in power that power is transient. That's a fact. Whether you like it or you don't, that is factual. Number two, if you don't fix systems to work for everyone equally because you can control them when you're in power, remember that power will be transient. A time will come. It could be you, it could be your child, it could be your friend. I mean, it could be anyone. Look at what it's doing to Dr. Obwaka, 83-year-old innocent person, but it's working like that. So let's be very careful even when we get in power. Even you who's going to be an MP, when you go to legislate, make laws that work for you and me on an equal basis. Because the day you stop being an MP, that law still exists. Again, as Governor Orengo reminded, I think it was Beth Mugo, revolutions eat their own. Do not do something stupid for that revolution to find you. Be very careful with that. And I think that's just my thoughts. Moving on swiftly. Now, you've mentioned the issue of courts. And the other, I think must have been on Friday or the weekend. There's an issue going on about the presidential advisors having been allowed the case ending, and I don't know, Judiciary saying no, it was within. The lawyers that were handling said we were not served, we didn't know it was happening. What's happening on that?
You see,
Are we safe with the judiciary as an independent arm?
to a great extent, the judiciary is willing to be independent. And we have judges who are worth their salt, judges who stand on their spine, and judges who say no. There are few You know, like in every society, hata wachawi kuna wachawi wazuri na wabaya, if there's such a thing. We have good pastors and then we have terrible ones, you know. We have good presidents and then we have horrible ones. We have good, even in a school, you'll find teachers who are really good teachers and teachers who are terrible. They should never even have been, you know.
Teachers in the first place.
In the first place. But there we are. The fact that we have some rogue judges does not mean that the whole judiciary is bad. I think we just need to
having rogue judges.
We have a few rogue judges. It is there. It is there. Oh, it is there. Even within churches, you'll find 2-3 priests who are terrible priests. They should never have been even witches, but they are priests.
Yeah.
Yeah. So all we are trying to say is, let us not throw out the whole judiciary on account of a few bad ones. I mean, I see border riders. Some of them are so good. Some of them are so honest. Some of them are even given 100K to go and bank. And they bank and they bring you the slip. Others are just thieves. So you just can't come and say, what were border, what and you are buyer. It's the same thing with the judiciary. I can tell you, out of 10 judges, maybe 2 or 3 are terrible human beings. In terms of their personalities and also as judges, in terms of their job performance. Let us not throw out the whole judiciary on account of those terrible judges who are purchased, who are bought, who are compromised. Let us agree that they're there, and let us find a way to start a purge into knowing who the bad ones are and how we can come up with a clear process of weeding them out and cleaning up the judiciary. So they are there.
They're there. I was very particular on that case because I wanted to know, is it possible that a ruling can be made and you as the lawyer representing me have no idea that it was happening?
Yes, it does happen. As I told you, there are many ways to subvert justice, including hiding files. That used to happen long ago. Now they're online. There are many ways to subvert justice. And anybody can decide to subvert justice at whatever staging point, depending on the powers that they have and the amount of trust that has been given to them for a case. Our focus should be on having a responsible judiciary and finding a way to make sure that this judiciary works for its own people and not for the government, as it were, the executive.
Okay. I know you are a Catholic, yes. And during this Lent season, the Catholic Church has been having different themes for every week.
Yes.
So for this week, I know the theme is building a just and a united Kenya. Yeah. When you look at the things that are happening, how do we go about that building of a just and a united Kenya, considering the situation we are in at the moment?
I think building a just and united Kenya might be very difficult for us right now. And the reason is we have a Nairobi City County that, for example, has been giving us stories about their inability to do what they're supposed to do. You come and ask them, why are people dying of floods? They tell you the meteorological department had said there will be heavy rainfall. So you ask them, so there will be heavy rainfall. So what did you do about it? Imagine they did nothing.
Yeah, sadly, actually, that is a fact.
I asked them, and I've asked them severally on TV. So our people have lost dignity in life, and they've lost dignity in death. What was happening at the floods is bad. Catastrophic, to say the least.
Yeah.
But what's even worse is I saw in Grogon, watu wamekuja, wanajaribu kuvunja magari milango, watoe miili of the people who had died and take them to mortuaries. In a country where counties have got leaders who have got common sense in their heads, we would have had county hearse. We would have had at least a body bag. So that in death, there is some dignity even in how your body is carried to the mortuary. And the family tends to feel that our loved one, to the family bado hujakufa. They still feel wanasema huyo ni mtu wetu alibebwa na ile body bag ya yellow. At least there would have been dignity in death. But these people were denied dignity in life. They were denied dignity during the floods, and they were denied dignity even when their bodies were being transported to the mortuaries. If you cannot even handle dead bodies, what kind of county are you? And let me ask you, how much money does Red Cross have from us? 0. You come and hear, wale wamerescuiwa juzi, 11 people were rescued by Red Cross. It tells you that Nairobi City County has failed.
Yeah.
It tells you that the national government has failed. Because Kwani Red Cross wako na pesa ngapi hiyo yenye county haina? In fact, ukiangalia budget ya Red Cross ya Kenya, hata sifikiri inaweza fika half of what Nairobi County gets. Yet every time there's a disaster, hata building ikianguka, kama yenye imeanguka, the Red Cross will count the number of people they rescued and saved. Nairobi City County, nothing. And I've always submitted to Kenyans, today, take this challenge. Uende kwa bahati mbaya uanguke hizi mabarabara, wanachanga mitaro, wanaacha shimo in the middle of the road, uvunjike mguu. Hata ukikaa hapo 3 hours, there will be no county ambulance. Ukuje na gari yako iingize mguu ikwame hapo, 5 minutes maximum, there will be a county breakdown, unroadworthy, ugly, that doesn't meet even any standards prescribed by NTSA. Haina masigno, haina anything. That ugly and roadworthy breakdown will be there to tow you for a fee. This county has got more breakdowns than they have ambulances.
That's true.
And
Sad.
they will tow you faster than an ambulance can lift you to the next hospital. That is the thinking of the Nairobi City County and the national government. We therefore cannot have national unity because it's all about man eat man. They focus on where they can eat from you. And that's why they'll come to your shop to check whether you've paid license. Na saizi wanaruka takataka hapa. Na ni kazi yake kuokota. The same county. Sewage is flowing outside your shop. They are not having conversation about this. They are checking whether you've paid the single business permit.
But they signed an agreement with the president. Was it worth 80 million the other day?
Billion. Terrible agreement. Terrible.
How do you have
Public
floods
participation
this week, then the following weekend, and in between nothing was done? A whole 7 days, nothing.
Public participation happened post-signing. So that was nonsense. 80 billion, they keep thinking that the problem we have in Nairobi is money, so you throw money at any problem. When you take a librarian and put them in charge of disaster in Nairobi, when you take a theologian and put them in the disaster department in Nairobi, or in the fire department for whatever reason, and then you wonder why fires. Today there was a fire at Toy Market.
Yeah.
It has destroyed a lot of things there. Why? Because librarians and theologians are in charge of our disaster and fire management. And people think it's a small thing. Oh, munapiga librarians. Let me tell you.
But
From
we have
today,
so many schools they can work
I
in.
submit to Kenyans. I want you tomorrow ukikuwa mgonjwa, mzazi akikuwa mgonjwa umpelekea librarian. Ama umpelekea theologian. Usimpeleke hospitali. So you said any qualification can do anything. Can you imagine if you went to KQ tomorrow morning and they told you, unaenda Mombasa, pilot leo hajafika, wacha librarian aendeshe ndege. How many of you would board that plane? You go to the theater, Kenyatta National Hospital. You are told doctors are on strike, but we have a theologian here. He can operate on your head. Hata scapula ziko hapa, tuko na anesthesia, atakudunga whatever quantity is enough. We ukiamuka kama utaamka ni sawa. Take the risk. How many of you would take the risk? So why is it okay to have a librarian and a theologian running disaster and fire within Nairobi City County? If they can't fly a plane, then they shouldn't be able to manage disaster here.
That's true.
Nairobi is a city with 4-5 million citizens.
Ama hata county ifungue kanisa basi waweke theologian na.
Yani, you don't get it. Aircraft yenye inaenda Mombasa hizi ndogo jumbo jets about 150 seater. You cannot trust 150 lives with a librarian. But you can trust a whole city of 4-5 million people that their disaster and fire will be managed by a theologian or a librarian who has got no understanding of disaster management. That the lives of 5 million people have been put at risk. And that's why we need to sue some of these people. They've been put at risk. It's as simple as taking them to fly a jet. And if they can't, and I submit, Governor, next time you are sick, go to hospital and insist on a theologian treating you.
Sad. But actually, it's very sad. It's not even a laughing matter,
It's crazy.
but
It's crazy.
Wow, Sakaja, you have a lot that you need to work on, to be very honest. And anyway, something else that happened is that the 10-point agenda report was launched. The opposition people, I had Caleb Bamisi here sitting, calling it the 10-lie agenda. What is your feeling? Plus, they got an extension of 60 days, I think, to accomplish that which is left.
I can speak to one of them. which is respect for human life and dignity. Where is that? After that, you've seen how many people have died. You've seen an 83-year-old being abducted and taken to court for nothing, for managing a hospital well. Yet those who are killing our people. They spoke about devolution. Devolution was one of the things in the 10-point agenda, strengthening devolution. How do you strengthen devolution? By taking away some of the devolved responsibilities, like, what you saw, them signing at State House. There is no strengthening of devolution there. From where I sit, the 10-point agenda is an insult to every other Kenyan. The other one was to reduce government spending and excesses. State House is now spending 17 billion a year. Let me put this in perspective. Aka ka State House Kenyu na nitakaita haka. Donald Trump, the whole White House, is allocated 10 billion Kenya shillings, not dollars. White House, with its chefs, drivers, everything to run White House for a year, it's 10 billion Kenya shillings, not dollars. The Germans, who are a superpower, have allocated their State House. Oh, yeah, ni White House, yeah, State House, yeah, US, ni White House. What's the difference? First name. Germany has allocated 7 billion. The guys who make Mercedes and Audi and Alfa Romeo, the third biggest economy in the world, the biggest economy in the whole of Europe, has got 7 billion allocated to their State House, Kenya shillings. France is allocating about 11 billion.
No, I think I saw France is the country that was higher than us.
16.
Yeah, I think they were.
16, thereabout. So why are we allocating our State House 17 billion?
You don't think we need that money in
We
State
don't
House?
need 17 billion for State House when some of our children have not been able to go back to school. We don't need 17 billion in State House. It is a bigger budget than the Moi Teaching and Referral Hospital is given. So what surgeries are happening at State House? Which mothers are delivering at State House? The last we checked, our First Lady has been blessed with her children. They're all big. So what is 17 billion doing at State House, surely?
What do you think they do with the money?
48 million shillings per day.
What do you think State House does with 48 million per day? It would be interesting to just...
They waste. They get delegations there. They bribe
48
people.
million per day.
They are stealing money. That's what they are doing. There's nothing else they are doing with our money. They are stealing it. It's robbery. It's a forceful robbery of our money. And the MPs who... Kenyans, what we need to do. And that's why I said I'm vying for MP Dagoretti South. At least let us have a dissenting voice in Parliament. Someone who comes and says, I refuse to vote. Then the others vote. Then you make noise about it and you explain to Kenyans why you refuse to vote. Because hii vote ilipitia bunge. And shame on every member of Parliament who passed that bill.
We have over 300, when you add
349.
349. You want to tell me 17 billion was passed without the knowledge of 349?
They know. Many of them have been bought.
So
we have very few people in
do you
Parliament.
think Kenyans understand how powerful MPs are? Because Norway, the president did not assign himself 17 billion. He can't.
As at the 2022 elections, the Kenyan electorate was very different from the Kenya electorate of 2027. I say with a lot of humility that I have played my part in trying to shape the narrative for 2027. And I thank every other person who has played their part. There are very many people who've come out and told Kenyans, wewe hapa hii ni ujinga, hii ni ujinga, hii ni ujinga, hii ni ujinga. That has changed a lot of things. The voter in 2027 will not be the voter in 2022. I can assure you. We may not have reached exactly where we wanted to be, but we have been involved and we have done a lot of talking to people. And I thank Alfa House for this opportunity. And even you people have been seen to bring guests who try to bring out the aspect of, is this the Kenya we want? And you and every other media house that has played that role, and every other Kenyan who's done something on TikTok, on Facebook, on whatever space they have, hata kama ni kwa mtaa hapo Jababes, of telling people 2027 we shall use common sense in voting. Thank you, wherever you are.
I really hope Kenyans understand the roles of an MP. Like budgeting
It's
is
happening.
purely...
Pole pole, it's happening. It may not happen overnight. But the Gen Z demos of 2024 demonstrated to Kenyans that the young people had gotten to a place they had realized the problem is parliament. And that's why they said occupy parliament. State House was an afterthought. The people had discovered shida yetu iko hapa bunge. And so people are aware. They are aware. Usijali, Kenyans are aware. Shida yetu iko bunge.
Haya, mimi yangu ni kuwakumbusha kwamba being aware and without having a vote, a voter's card, is as good as
useless.
Thank you very much. So if you have not registered as a voter, step out. There's a young person who's created, I am forgetting, but there's a website where you can check the nearest IBC office in your area and go register as a voter. So please step out, go register as a voter. One, if you want change. Two, if you also are content with the status quo and you want it to remain also without a voter's card, it's useless. So either way, we all need the voter's card. The other thing has been that the Auditor General has been raising a lot of red flags, green flags, flags that sometimes are of peace, because like last week we had the issue with the deputy president's spouse spending 44 million, and then 2 days later it came out it was a mistake from the Auditor General's office. As citizens of Kenya, what are we supposed to do with all these reports?
I don't think it was a mistake from the Auditor General's office.
That's
need
what
to see
her
what
office
the Auditor General does. Usually, unakumbuka ile ya Waititu, it was hilarious. Walikuwa wanasema state house, state house, state house. Na Kiambu hakuna state house. The Auditor General works with what you send them. Because usually you are given 5 billion or 10 billion. Then you have to account.
Yeah.
So they usually just go into the items and say, mulisema mulitumia 15 million hapa eh. Then what are the supporting documents? You don't have. They say 15 million spent in Kiambu without, or in Kasarani or in Kisumu without supporting documents. That's what the Auditor General does. Maybe ni pressure, of course, from above. Because I had the president scolding them and shouting at them and saying, we are not mad, we cannot lose 50 billion. So, of course, there are people who got frightened within the Auditor General's office. But the truth is, most of what the Auditor General says comes actually from the same people who are being spoken about by the Auditor General.
So when she raises all these reports of inefficiencies and gaps, as citizens, what are we? Besides knowing, fine, this amount, 44 million, was not properly used. 50, now we deal in millions and billions oftentimes.
You see, we are crucifying the messenger. The job description of the Auditor General is to audit and to tell Kenyans. Has she done her job? Perfectly.
Yes.
Now, what you do with that information is up to you. Is it the investigative agencies? Is it the enforcement agencies? Is it the police? Is it the citizens? Is it the civil society? At least the Auditor General has done her job. So what we should be doing is commending her for doing her job and telling her, umetuambia, now there are other people who've been tasked with investigation. There are people who've been tasked with arrest. People who've been tasked with every other thing. Now it is those ones who have not done their part.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the shift should be towards the agencies that are supposed to do something after that.
Yes.
Okay. As we finish, last week we had the MP for Saboti, Caleb Amisi, here, and he left a question.
Oh, there was something about the speed camera.
Oh, yes. What speed did you come driving? You came with a very big machine today.
Maybe it's a neighbor's.
It could be, yeah. Were you maintaining the speeds?
Well, there are places I did 100, there are places I did 80, there are places I even did 40, even 20 where there were bumps. The nation has been invited to have a very serious conversation. The conversation is on speed cameras.
Yes.
And the question becomes, do we need speed cameras in this country? It's a national dialogue we must have. It's simple saying it went to court. It's simple to say it is corruption. It is simple to say very many things. But for the first time from where I sit, I find an idea that I don't want to oppose. I have opposed everything about this. In fact, since I sat here, I've said bad things about this government. But for the first time, allow me to say that if you travel outside of this country, and many people have, it is possible to leave Malindi and get to Nairobi without there being a single bump. Kuna bump. And what do? They give you a big post telling you unaingia zone ya 60 kilometers per hour. Let's say you're approaching Mtito one day. 60. then maybe 70 to 100 meters from there, there's a camera now. So there's no hidden camera. You have a notice telling you hapa ni 60. And you know there's a camera. So ukifika hapo, you have a deceleration phase. You start driving at below 60. Ukipita hiyo zone, inakuonyesha end of 60, drive at 1,000,000 if you want. And it happens the same speed, ya 80, ya 70, ya 40, at a 20.
Yeah.
I think as a nation, we need those cameras.
That
The
I
first
agree.
time, I agree that we need them. And secondly, that we need to tidy up the manner in which the implementation and installation of these cameras and actualization of them has been done. Because when you think about it, we lose 6,000 Kenyans to accidents every year. Are you aware that ile time kulikuwa na COVID, with all those measures, masks, nini, we lost 6,000 lives? 6,000. So when we lose 6,000 people, is an epidemic of the same magnitude as COVID. And it must be treated as much. And by the way, 3,000 of them are pedestrians. Ulikuwa unavuka barabara kwenda shule. Mtoto. Ulikuwa unavuka barabara, you are going to work. You are coming from work. Umetoka kutafutilia watoto sukuma wiki. Umegongwa, umekufa. Some of them have been crippled. Some of them have been maimed. I am happy to race at 140, but I'm also happy to realize that nimefika Transami, which is a very dangerous place, and between here and there, we lose lives every day.
Yeah.
So hapo niende 40, na kuwe na kamera ya kumake sure naenda 40 ama 30, because the pedestrian also matters. And because this country has not invested in pedestrian walkways across the road in very many places, let's have them. But also, sometimes there's an idiot, for the lack of a better word, an idiot on a motorcycle. Very many boda riders are good. Then out of 10, we have 3 stupid ones or 2. Complete total idiots who ni Valley Road, gari zote zinateremka, yeye anapanda on that side. We meet them every day. You wonder, what is wrong with this creature? Because this cannot be a human being. So that speed camera helps us capture such a human being. And finally, on the same thing, there was a trending photo, actually video, of a boda guy who was driving. Alikuwa amevuka expressway yote, anaenda kumaliza. And then he hit a tour vehicle. I don't know whether you remember.
Yeah,
Na alikuwa amebeba makaa. He hit a Land Cruiser ya tours. And the first reaction from very many Kenyans was, look at this idiot. Hii ni expressway, amevuka expressway, amekuja amegonga Land Cruiser, na amemwaga makaa. But for planning, think about it. The person who built the expressway had a very special brain. Yeye alifikiria, how do you get a dignitary from Westlands to the airport or Mlolongo in 10 minutes if possible? So they were building this highway with Westlands, Mlolongo only. One thing he forgot is that the person who makes the best charcoal is on this side of the road. And the restaurant that uses his charcoal is on this side of the road. And the boda that needs to move this charcoal would have to drive down maybe 5, 6, 7, 8 kilometers for them to get here. The person who built that expressway forgot that the best kindergarten in that region is here. And the children who go to this kindergarten are here. So you've come and built something in the middle of the road and you fenced it. And then you're wondering why children are dying between here and here. That boda guy, to many people, was mad. I submit to Kenyans, he was very normal. He was moving charcoal from the favorite charcoal seller to the favorite consumer of charcoal, a distance he used to cross every day. And now somebody has come who is a genius, very clever. And he's built a highway with only one thing in mind: how to get a rich person who can pay 500 shillings from Westlands to Mlolongo in the fastest possible way, without thinking of any other economic activity that used to happen in Mombasa Road. Speed cameras will help us in a great way. I am not saying I agree with how it has been done as a, whether it's a private partnership or whoever owns them. Maybe hata ni za William Ruto. Mi sijui ni za nani. Maybe hata ni za, si zangu, of course. I can't afford them. I wouldn't even think, I don't think my account can afford one. But let's have a national conversation around them. And let us ask ourselves, is this thing terribly wrong? Or do we need to tidy up the environment around which it happens?
Very important. I think on that I'll just add, we need proper road signages across the country. That is
Na
one.
watu wasizikate kutengeneza nazo. Unajua wanaenda kupima kilo.
I know. Ni sawa, fanyeni za plastic basi.
Yeah.
Like do something. Or ban, as Uhuru had banned export of, what was it called? Easy chuma za second.
Yeah.
Like do something. So do road signages. Number 2. Hey, please, I know we have expressway and we love it, but please, Mombasa Road, lower deck. Government, please do something. Between Chiromo and Westlands roundabout, if you don't have a good car, those potholes will swallow you. I can guarantee.
Oh, they are big.
Oh, it's horrible, man. It is bad.
Big.
Kenha, I don't know whether it's a highway, so that's under Kenha, I want to assume. Or the other one. Please, whoever it is, just fix that road. It's very, very important. It will also reduce accidents if we fix it, I can guarantee. Because sometimes it has water and you see a Boda guy inside and they're falling and, it's bad. So let's fix our bad manners also, even as citizens and even as Boda and drivers, because it cuts across. Back to the question of the week that was left by Caleb Amisi, Mheshimiwa. What is your agenda for the next generation? Because you really want to be an MP.
Our agenda for the next generation first is to make those things that should work. Okay? A person who goes to hospital should never be turned away because they don't have money. A person who goes to seek education must get education. And there's enough money for everything. When you hear 1.3 trillion is being stolen from manual withdrawals and there's no accountability for it, it tells you there's enough money in this country. When you read books about the making of the German nation, you realize that what they did is they spoke to the person. And the person decided that I wouldn't steal public resources. I wouldn't cross the zebra crossing if the lights are red for me. And I will wait until they are green. And sometimes there's no vehicle. And I wish that Kenyans would, if they're not able to go abroad, they watch YouTube videos and see what happens in those countries. That kama ni green, kama ni red. And when we start instilling that in our people will be like, no, I can't steal from the public. I can't do things that I'm not supposed to do. So we have a country, but we haven't built the heart of a nation. And my task and that of my generation is to start saying, nobody should be comfortable with garbage. We never grew up in a situation whereby we were used to throw garbage outside our door. Now you drive out of your compound and there's garbage all over and you are comfortable.
Yeah.
We want to create a nation that is disturbed by nonsense. So when you wake up and you find garbage like that, you feel disturbed, you feel irked. You feel like you want to say, this goes against the morals of us as a nation. And that's what happens when you go to Japan. You're a foreigner, you sit at the counter, and for some reason you forget your wallet or your purse. They know if it is lost or stolen, it's a foreigner. But if it's a Japanese, every single coin you had in your wallet or in your purse, you will find it at the counter. I wish we could build our nation to get to that level. That it's not about who is watching. It's, I left my bag in an Uber, it had 100,000 shillings, and the Uber driver gave it back to me with 100,000 shillings. And it was not open. If we do that for the country, for me, beyond systems, beyond everything else, let us speak to the moral of the person, the psyche of the individual, the mind of the person, and change them to strongly believe in a nation that has got manners. And that is what is happening in Kigali today. There's a lot of order, but to a great extent is because their minds, their psyche, their personality has accepted order.
I hope as Kenyans we are willing to speak to ourselves and to take, these morals as what should be for a nation, because it's very, very critical, and it will change this country in a big, big way. Anyway, thank you so much for coming through, and as is the tradition now, you have to leave a question for the next guests.
Oh, interesting. Thank you. I think I would like to ask the next guest, when they come, to tell us if they had an opportunity to serve in a public office and they had an opportunity to steal money and nobody will know, would they steal that money? You are there, you are alone in the office, there's public resources, there's a lot of it. Would you steal that money?
Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. I hope it's a public servant coming next.
Or would they resist the temptation to steal that money? It's either would you steal it
or would you
resist the temptation to steal that money?
Okay, great. Well noted. I'll pass the question. Thank you so much for coming through. We totally appreciate your input and you sharing with us this. And we wish you the very best in your endeavors. Keep at it.
Thank you.
Don't stop.
Thank you.
Kenyans appreciate what you do also, so keep at it. It's very important that every Kenyan plays their role. Again, as we end this show, if you're watching a Kenyan who's not registered as a voter, please go out and vote. I mean, not vote, go out and register as a voter. And when 2027 comes, you'll be among the people that, make a decision for this country, for whichever side you belong. The call for everyone to register as a voter is because we either want to maintain the status quo or we want to have new leadership. It's up to you. But however, that voter's card determines if you play either of those roles. Thank you for watching. We'll catch you on the next episode.